esteemed guests, welcome Mr. Fred Dixon.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
So good to see you. Beautiful. Thank you, Raquel, for those kind words. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to New York City. We are so thrilled. Yes, we can applaud. We can applaud for that. Was that Billy and Ed? I think that was Billy and Ed, our resident cheerleaders. Ben and Raquel, thank you for that kind introduction. And it was indeed an honor. Raquel was part of a panel from out who spoke at our annual meeting just a few months ago, and they rocked it, I have to tell you. We got such great reviews, so thank you for being with us, and thank you for doing this here today. We are so proud, pardon the pun, to have you all here today at this extraordinarily exciting time, and I'm thrilled to welcome Proud Experiences to New York City. It was a huge honor to be with you all last year in London, where we got to announce that the show was coming to New York. And now I get to tell you more news. The show is making its home in New York City. So you'll be coming back in 2020 and beyond. So we hope you have a great time. Pick out your favorite restaurants. Make plans for next year because we're in for a really good time. So thank you to Allison and to Simon and the entire team at Reed Exhibitions and to Proud Experiences for not only putting on this amazing show, but for having confidence and faith in New York City. And we are not going to let you down at all. We hope you all enjoy your time in New York. It is an incredibly exciting moment in the city, as you've heard. So I'm going to help set the stage just a little bit. But we hope that you do get the chance amongst the programming. And I know many of you are staying on into next week to participate in some of the World Pride activities, but to immerse yourself in the city's inclusive, rich, and diverse communities, in the welcoming spirit that hopefully you will feel envelop you as we approach this important event next week. So what I thought I would do, and I think someone's advancing slides for me, is we just set the stage for you a little bit about what's going on in New York, where we are, the role that LGBT plays in our work, and a little bit about the destination to help you sell, hopefully, more New York City as we go forward. I'm really happy to share that 2018 was our 9th consecutive record-breaking year for travel in New York, and LGBT was an enormous part of that. We welcomed an all-time high 65 million visitors to New York. Over 13.5 million of those were from around the world. We are on pace this year to welcome an even greater number of visitors, and that international number will grow in excess of 14 million this year. The LGBTQ plus segment represents 10% of all travelers. So that's over 7 million visitors to New York City this year who are from this community. And it is no surprise that that makes New York City the most popular LGBTQ plus destination in the US, and we think quite possibly the world, certainly after next week. I think we're going to be able to say that. So thank you all for helping keep New York popular, and we're going to do our part to keep welcoming your guests in true New York style. And now 2019, as you all know, is especially important, of course, because of the historic relevance of the events that took place in June of 1969. In 1 week from now, we will commemorate the 50th anniversary of the Stonewall Uprising and welcome World Pride to the United States for the very first time. Literally, Pride is coming home. And it was June 28, 1969, when the modern notion of pride was born at 53 Christopher Street here in New York City at just after 3 a.m. The LGBTQ plus community gathered to make sure the world would never forget what happened that weekend, to encourage others to find a sense of pride and self-esteem, and to demonstrate that the fight for equality will never end. Three years ago, President Obama declared the site of the riots and the adjacent park as the Stonewall National Monument. And that was an incredibly important moment for all of us. And in that monument, you will find our shared history. So we wanted to honor it by embracing its values, embed it permanently in our messaging for the city. In 2017, when we officially announced that World Pride was coming to New York, our team found a unique opportunity to rethink our approach to the LGBTQ market and to look at what we could do and, more importantly, what we should be doing. And so we took a look at our branding and our marketing, our messaging at first. And one of the first things we did was to take a look at the West Village, to go back in time to 1969. And if you look at a Google map, for example, of the West Village, and you see the Memorial Park and you see Stonewall on Christopher Street, you notice that it's actually in the shape of a shard. And our creative director was inspired by this idea. And the creative team worked with us. They kept coming back to this historic place and to this map and to the image that it evokes, a piece of glass, perhaps shattered in 1969 during those tumultuous days, but out of which something beautiful was born. So as we begin to think about this idea and tinker with it, design elements started to come together. Shards of glass could be seen as crystalline forms. Like us, each individual, no two alike, reflecting the spectrum of the rainbow when seen in the light. Crystalline forms are organic and each grow uniquely to fill a space over time, defying constraint and boundaries. So we gave ourselves permission to color outside the lines and to seek a modern and fresh design for the notion of uncontainable pride that we have here in New York City. And a new adaptation of our logo was born, and you'll see all the city officials and you'll see people all over the city using it this next 2 weeks. We call it Pride Uncontained. And the campaign manifesto recognizes that moment in place and time and calls those events forward into the present, uniting us all in uncontained pride. And I'd like to read to you the manifesto from the campaign. One hot summer night, a gay club was busted. Again. Patrons and employees were dragged into the streets, as they had been many times in many clubs in many cities. This was not news. And any other night, the world would not have bat an eye. But this wasn't any other night, or any other club, or any other city. This was June 28, 1969. This was Stonewall. This was New York City, island of misfits and safe harbor to the world, the place where all fragments of humanity collide, too close to hide, too fast to stand still, and it was our breaking point. In the year that followed, our disparate yet determined struggles coalesced, finally, into a global force. Protest turned to pride, and New York City took its place in our history. So something shattered that night in 1969, and out of the pieces came something infinitely more beautiful. Its impact irreversible, the truth undeniable, our pride uncontainable. And there you have Pride Uncontained in this very special anniversary year. And taking inspiration from what Ben said just a moment ago, we felt it was very important that people not only just put a flag on their business, but that they actually take diversity and inclusivity to heart. And so we actually have set about a series of trainings for the hospitality community in New York City, unlike we've ever done before. And I have to thank our colleagues from Man About World and Hospitable Me for helping deliver this wonderful programming. We had the highest turnout we've ever had for educational sessions in the city of New York. Everyone turned out because they're taking this very seriously and everyone wants to do the right thing. And so that's why we launched, as part of this effort, what we're calling Project Rainbow, a large-scale branding initiative using Pride Uncontained to welcome visitors during World Pride Month and beyond across the 5 boroughs. We've developed toolkits and training materials that have been spread across all 5 boroughs, including special messaging, of course, about gender identity. And to make sure that everyone is welcome in very unique and special ways. For example, gender-neutral bathroom signage, just as you see here in the One Hotel Brooklyn Bridge today, is something that we are encouraging throughout the city. Safe and equal bathroom access is a human right. And since March of 2016, in fact, restaurants, bars, and other public places in New York City with single-stall restrooms have been required to replace men and women signage with gender-neutral signage. And one of the pieces that I am most excited about are the window clings that you will see hopefully throughout the entire city, and you see them on the bottom right there, with a very simple message in partnership with our global partner, MasterCard, that in New York City, everyone is celebrated and acceptance matters. So welcome to New York at this very special time. Our entire business community thanks you all for being here. With upwards of 4 million visitors expected to participate in events next week. Can you imagine that? We're a little scared by that number. 4 million. It's going to be the largest event we've ever held in New York. And I think it's appropriate that it's an LGBTQ plus event, especially on this anniversary. Travelers and allies are coming to be part of what we're calling the Year of Pride, a year-long program of events comprising special cultural exhibitions and an abundance of experiences available throughout all 5 boroughs, celebrating New York City's rich and diverse LGBTQ plus arts and culture and heritage. I'm going to mention just a few of these, and you should make plans to attend these or visit these if you can while you're here. First up, at the Guggenheim Museum through January of 2020, the Guggenheim is presenting Implicit Tensions Mapplethorpe Now, a 2-phase exhibition of the late photographer Robert Mapplethorpe's work. Phase 1 highlights works in the museum's collection, including photographs, mixed media, portraits, and more, while the second phase will spotlight artists who draw inspiration from his work. Second up is Love and Resistance. In February, the New York Public Library debuted Love and Resistance, Stonewall 50, drawing from its vast collection of LGBTQ plus history, including materials from the Manuscripts and Archives Division and Photography Collection. The exhibit, on view through July 14th, is in the library's landmark Stephen A. Schwartzman building in Bryant Park and is organized around 4 themes: resistance, bars, imprint, and love. At Art After Stonewall, on view through July 21st at the Leslie Lohman Museum of Gay and Lesbian Art in Soho, is the first major exhibition to highlight the impact of the LGBTQ+ civil rights movement on the art world. The exhibit will feature more than 150 works of art and related materials from artists including Keith Haring, Holly Hughes, Robert Mapplethorpe, Andy Warhol, and more. And up at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, the Costume Institute exhibition this year, hopefully you've heard a little bit about it, you saw the coverage of the Met Gala this year, is called Camp, Notes on Fashion, and it is on view through September 8th. Exploring the origins of the camp aesthetic, the exhibition features over 175 objects, including women's wear and menswear, as well as sculptures, paintings, and drawings dating from the 17th century to the present. And through September 22nd, the New York Historical Society will commemorate the 50th anniversary with two new exhibitions. The first one, Letting Loose and Fighting Back, LGBTQ+ nightlife before and after Stonewall, and By the Force of Our Presence, highlights from the lesbian Her Story archives. All part of their Stonewall 50 programming this year. And as a fun fact, we are the only destination in the world that celebrates Pride for more than 7 weeks every year, with full Pride celebrations in each of the 5 boroughs, plus Harlem, going on this time of year. Having started May 10th with Staten Island Pride Fest, which is a small but spunky group out in Staten Island, and concluding with the NYC Pride March next Sunday, these events offer an unparalleled opportunity to experience the rich diversity and unique community heritage found across our boroughs and our neighborhoods. Each event has its own flavor and its own style, and I encourage you to come back and experience more of them, not just the big Pride celebration at the end of June. Here are some of the official key events you don't want to miss. Next week, if you are sticking around with us, June 24th and 25th is the Human Rights Conference. June 26th is the opening ceremony at the Barclays Center. June 28th is Stonewall 50 Commemoration Rally. June 29th is Pride Island, which features Grace Jones as the headliner. June 30th is, of course, the official NYC Pride March and Pride Island and Pride Fest. And the closing ceremony, of course, will be Sunday evening in Times Square, which will be a remarkable event I think that the world is going to pay attention to. And World Pride isn't the only thing we're celebrating in 2019. New York City's luxury landscape, because after all, we are here to talk a little bit about luxury travel, I believe our luxury landscape keeps evolving and expanding, offering a wide range of options to those seeking to experience New York City's unique and exclusive side. So I want to share just a few quick updates for you. You heard earlier from Simon that we are hosting the closing night party. Save Thursday night, don't go anywhere else but across the water to join us at 10 Corso Como in the South Street Seaport District. It's the only U.S. location of Carla Sozani's pioneering concept store, 10 Corso Como in Milan, featuring a restaurant, bar, unique fashions and home goods, an art gallery, and more. It will be the home and the site of our closing party on Thursday evening, and you're sure to have a great time. Up in Midtown in March, we saw the opening of Hudson Yards. I encourage you to get up there and explore it when you have time this week. The largest private real estate development in the history of the United States, with 1.6 million square meters of commercial, residential, and cultural programming space. It literally is a city within the city, and it comes with 5 acres of public gardens and public spaces. Hudson Yards is also home to 100 plus retail shops, including New York City's first ever Neiman Marcus. Can you believe the capital of shopping never had a Neiman Marcus? But we do now. And it also has 16 distinct dining experiences curated by celebrity chefs, including Jose Andres. Also in Hudson Yards is The Vessel. This is your Instagrammable moment of the week. A permanent public art centerpiece by acclaimed British artist Thomas Heatherwick is in the center of the public square at Hudson Yards. It is free to the public, but you do need to reserve your tickets in advance because they are timed. The vessel features 154 interconnecting flights of stairs with more than 2,500 individual steps, and is proving to be one of New York City's most popular social media spots. A little connection to India. It was inspired, actually, by Thomas Heatherwick's youth when he spent a lot of time with his mother in India, and the stepwells and the architecture of them in India inspired him to create this staircase structure. Now, Hudson Yards neighborhood is also home to The Shed. So if you get a chance, check out their programming. It is some of the best entertainment you're going to find in the world. It's the first performing arts center designed to commission, produce, and present new work across the performing arts, visual arts, and popular culture. In the building's movable outer shell, the building literally is on wheels, opens and contracts to create a variety of spaces for different types of work. And on the hotel scene, the second Ian Schrager edition, where you're going to be tomorrow night, opened in February in Times Square to great acclaim. It's absolutely spectacular space, 452 guest rooms, and extensive retail, dining, and entertainment and event space, including a fantastic new cabaret venue called the Paradise Club. And down in the Meatpacking District, for those shopping lovers, in May, Hermes opened a new 2-story flagship here in New York in the Meatpacking District. This intimate concept store offers an emphasis on footwear, enamel bracelets, and accessories, and includes a cafe, rooftop space for events, activations, and more. And for the culture buffs, this is a project that I'm particularly proud of because we helped launch the fundraising effort with Diane von Furstenberg over 5 years ago. We recently just opened the new Statue of Liberty Museum, May 18th. The new museum serves as the new home for the statue's original torch, which was replaced in 1986, and gives all visitors to Liberty Island the opportunity to learn and celebrate the statue's unique history and legacy. And coming up in the next couple of years, the first ever Equinox Hotel is opening right here in New York. It actually opens next month with 212 rooms, a restaurant and bar by restaurateur Steven Starr, and it's guaranteed to be spectacular with special views, as you can see, of the vessel. And over at the Museum of Modern Art, they are about to undergo a complete transformation. They're closing. Actually, they just closed this week, and they're going to be closed until October when the museum reopens with an additional 1/3 more space. It's expanding by 1/3. All of the art galleries are being completely rehung in a new and creative way, and so the completely reimagined MoMA will be open with its new space October 21st. So I encourage you to come back and see that. And finally, for visitors looking for additional shopping, Nordstrom also finally made its way to New York. We're really happy to say that the women's flagship store is opening this fall, just south of Central Park. And you'll see it on the left, but the men's store actually opened, and I've dropped a few coins at this spot, so be careful. Just across the street, and it just opened a few months ago. It's spectacular. I encourage you to see it. At Hudson Yards, Edge is coming. It will be the highest outdoor observation deck in the world, and the the highest observation deck in the United States, and the 5th highest in the world, accessible from the 100th floor of 30 Hudson Yards. And on the hotel front, 2 last quick updates for you. New York City is attracting several new luxury hotel brands in the coming years, including the ultra-luxury Aman, New York, which is coming in 2020, and a new 137-room Six Senses New York in Chelsea, the brand's first ever U.S. property, and its urban flagship will also open in 2020. And then we are also excited to welcome one more Ritz-Carlton to New York City. The new Ritz-Carlton Nomad was expected to open in 2021. One final performing arts project that I'm really excited about is the Ronald O. Perlman Center for the Performing Arts. Pictured here, it's scheduled to open at the World Trade Center in 2021, and the Perlman Center will be a multidisciplinary performing arts center offering artists the opportunity to create boundary-pushing work unlike anywhere else in New York City. And a little fun fact, Barbara Streisand herself has been elected the chair of the board and is the chief fundraiser for this exciting new project. So I'm hoping she'll be at the opening. So book your tickets now. And finally, I'd like to just take one final opportunity to celebrate how New York City is welcoming of all types of communities all year long, as only New York City can. Take a look at our new welcome video, which is now available for everyone to use. So this is available for you in your promotions as well when you are talking about New York City, because in New York City, everyone is celebrated here.
All right, Dorothy, this is it. I'm home.
You get off the plane and you're like, wow, I'm alive.
As soon as you land, take a cab. You can bike if you have a bike, you can skate.
Why would you hail a cab if you can walk?
Walking is a thing.
You could take the boat.
First of all, when you go to Times Square, you have to breathe because it's breathtaking.
Take a selfie.
Go see a Broadway show.
Go to the Empire State Building, go to the top of Rockefeller Center.
Skyscrapers is the center of the world. Ελάτε στη Νέα Υόρκη.
There are so many tall buildings. Where is the sun?
In Hell's Kitchen, you can see the sun.
We've got every season here. Go see the Rockettes.
The Statue of Liberty.
Stonewall, which is incredibly historic.
Comedies where revolutions happen.
Chelsea, Soho. Hay cosas ya de lujo. Es un área bien fancy, ¿me entiendes?
When you come here, you expect glamour. Diamonds, glamorous dress. Go to the opera. bike over the Brooklyn Bridge.
Brooklyn is epic and special.
Brooklyn. Got Coney Island.
You get to happen upon things.
Yes.
You can get reggae, you can get soca, you can get Brazilian music.
And the band was popping.
House music.
Just the idea of people still gathering in costume. I mean, you don't get this anymore.
You get to a certain block in Brooklyn, put your foot over, and you're in Queens.
The Rockaways, the beach, Portrait Meadow Park. They got the Mets over there.
Small places that you'd never think exist.
From there, we'll go up to the Bronx.
Nature.
The Bronx Zoo. So they got the Yankees.
I think that's baseball, right?
Manhattan never gets outclassed, and that's because of theater.
生存还是毁灭，这是一个值得思考的问题。
Staten Island.
Staten Island. There's something for everybody.
New York City is an awesome place to come with family.
You got things for kids, you got things for adults.
Even like museums have amazing story times.
The train in New York. You start off with a Showtime experience, then you'll see a couple falling in love.
The subway street dancing.
It's like this tiny universe.
Brooklyn, Manhattan, Staten Island, $3.
Take a ride on the subway.
And then, my dear, I want a people watch.
Saw a lady walking a pig,
All types of characters.
a guy get out of a cab with a duck, and we were just all like looking at him like, what the?
Go and get some pizza.
The reason why pizza's so good in the city, New York water's the best. Tap.
You must try halal food.
하얀 소스, 빨간 소스 다 해서 이렇게 비비면은
Oh, the high-end, the fine dining. You'll certainly get passion, whether it's a food truck or a high-end restaurant.
it's heaven for me.
Sometimes it's just about the love in the hands that makes the food.
Go to Little Italy and have a beautiful Italian dessert.
If you want real Italian food, go to Arthur Ave in the Bronx.
Mott Street, great dim sum. That's Chinese food. General Tso's chicken. I even don't know who that guy is.
I think it's easy to be lost, but you can always ask questions.
I think the thing is to get lost in New York City.
I think you can really bring your culture to New York and preserve it.
That's the beauty of this organic city.
New York really promotes self-expression.
It creates new flavors of what once was coming from another country.
You got different kinds of ages, race, religions.
LGBTQ.
You put your dog in a stroller.
I don't know, A, B, C, D, F, E.
You a pirate?
Z.
Ahoy, matey.
All of it. Everyone's welcome.
The biggest rainbow in the world.
I could leave my apartment house at 7 a.m. wearing a sequined wedding gown, and the doorman will say, "Good morning." That's New York.